And Landon, I want to give you as much time as you can take to talk about this one because this one was so obvious. You were banging the drums trying to get our attention on this one, and I'll just let you take it from there because this has been a huge winner.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys started that last segment, you talked about Logitech being kind of quiet, and I was shaking my head. At LikeFolio, we have been sending stuff out bullish on Logitech for a long time. We've seen a massive surge in purchase intent over the years, and a lot of it has to do with gaming. But of course, starting around March, we saw a big movement towards their webcams and their work from home equipment. And obviously, that's done very well for the company. And now the stock's trading basically at all-time highs. I think they're maybe $1 off highs today. So very strong results for the company so far. But, when you look at the purchase intent over the history of the company over the last 3 years or so, a big spike running up in March, but it is actually starting to pull back a little bit when you look at the 90-day moving average. And so one of the things that kind of is interesting to me is, you've got the work from home movement that I think gave them a ton of sales, a ton of exposure. The stock ran up tremendously. I mean, if you look at this chart, the stock price there in gray, you can see how well they've done since the bottoms in March. And it was all due to the fact that people were buying webcams, and a lot of people that had no idea what Logitech was were all of a sudden becoming familiar because they needed that work from home equipment. But I think the core of this company is in the gaming. And for the most part, I think that the people who need the work from home stuff or will need it already bought it. You're not going to be in a situation where you're on Zoom calls and you decide, hey, you know what? I bought a Logitech camera back in March or April, and I need a new one because I want to upgrade my video a little bit. That doesn't happen. But you do have people who are into gaming and they want the latest and greatest mouse or the latest and greatest keyboard, headset, whatever it may be, to give themselves a competitive advantage in gaming. And they're the ones that are going to drive sales in the future. So in my opinion, you've got a nice little bump over the last little, work from home quarantine period. But that I don't think is indicative of future growth. I think it's more about the gaming. And right now we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. And I think that, of course, gaming's kind of at all-time highs. You've got data here showing that people were really into Logitech products, big spike in March, April, May. And of course, it's falling back now. So our data is showing that, yes, we think they're going to have a strong quarter, but I believe that it may not measure up to very high Wall Street expectations. And while we're super bullish long-term on this company, I wouldn't be surprised at a pullback. And I think that would be a great buying opportunity if we did get a pullback off of earnings.
Yeah, Landon, you're looking at really the only dip that this stock took over the last several months was that announcement by Apple about not selling the outside audio equipment in the Apple store anymore. But then the stock recovered right back as Logitech really came out and said, yeah, but that's not going to necessarily really hurt our business. It wasn't that big of it's not a good thing, right? You'd still rather be selling your products in Apple, but Apple looks like they're about to release, a new earbud and a new HomePod. So they're kind of cutting out some of their competitors, but you're right. It looks like gaming. And like I said, if you're a gamer or you have someone in your family that's a gamer, there's probably a Logitech device somewhere in your house. And so this company has a niche, right? They take the parts of your computer and they upgrade them and they make them more fancy and more cool and more user-friendly. So sales I want to get it right. Sales were up 25% year over year last quarter. So we'll see if they hang on to those elevated numbers there, Landon. But what I want to ask you is, how big is the audio part of this company? Are they accurate when they say it's not going to hurt them, or should we look at that as a little window for maybe some disappointment in their earnings growth here, Landon?
I really don't think it's that big. I think it's basically Logitech is everything you plug into your computer except for your monitor. And I think their big strong suits is not audio because there's a lot of competition there. I think where they really excel is webcams, yes, but also mouse and keyboard, and then those specialty gaming products that Jenny was talking about, all the headsets and simulation type stuff that if you're really, really into gaming and you're really into a certain genre of gaming, then you're going to need the best. Like, you want to have a fantastic experience. And if you're talking about, some of these gamers spend 4 or 5 hours a day you're easily going to plop down $100 for the best mouse or the best whatever headset, because you're putting so much time into it. And so I don't worry too much about the audio. I think it's really about the interface that the user has with the computer. So it's keyboard, mouse, and all the gaming specialty stuff. And I think that's really the key. I can remember back when I used to be a gamer many years ago. I bought a Logitech mouse for $85 or $90, and it had 13 buttons on it. So with my right hand, I could control 13 different things, and that was key for gaming. And all my gaming buddies had that kind of thing, and you had to have it. Otherwise, you were actually at a disadvantage. And that's no secret among gamers. They make a lot of the greatest stuff out there. And of course, like I said, big boost from work from home. A lot of people are learning about this name for the first time, buying that webcam. But the core is the gamers. And I think that if Wall Street expects this work from home surge to continue into this quarter, I think they may be disappointed. But if they have realistic expectations that a little bit of a pullback is coming as far as sales go, or at least the trajectory of sales, acceleration, then they won't be disappointed. And then it's going to come down to the Christmas surge. How many people are buying their kids or buying for themselves something that's really nice when it comes to their favorite hobby, which is gaming? And that's where Logitech's going to accelerate.
Landon, as we wrap things here and kind of get our final thoughts from you, I remember last time, I believe it was this name too, you talked about when the gold rush happened, you didn't necessarily want to invest in gold or the miners, you want to invest in the company that made the mining picks. I think that was the analogy you made. I think it was a great one in describing kind of this company. But I think there's also another misconception that we're not clarifying fully. They make these high-end things, but you go to Target or Walmart, you need to get a mouse quick for work from home. It does have that name brand recognition. It does have the lower end product for the $5, $10, $15 that the everyday person might buy as well. And my question is more on that. Did they gain some brand loyalty? Has the sentiment hung in there as more and more people have come into their universe from how you guys are tracking it? Have people been happy with the products they've been buying?
Yes, absolutely. We've got 81% positive consumer happiness on Logitech, which is a very high number when it comes to LikeFolio data. Most companies are in the 50s or 60s, so 81 is extremely high. And you're right, if you're going to a store to get a new mouse or keyboard and you're just sort of a casual user, you're not a gamer, but you see that this certain company, Logitech, sells $100 or $150 equipment in that same category, you might not say you're not going to get that one, but you might stick to that brand and buy the $20 version. And so I think that, every webcam says Logitech on it. They were sold out for months. They are the brand leader for sure. They've got that brand recognition, and I think that that's really going to carry them forward with the casual type users. But again, I really think the gaming is where that's going to propel. And I think that this quarter could be a little bit of a disappointment. I'm looking for a pullback, and I'm going to be more involved, more long-term investing, and I'm looking for a better Q4 out of them.